And Whidbey Island. Let's see. How's everybody doing today? It is another beautiful day on the island, and today I want to talk to you about my podcast. I do this Whidbey Island Living podcast, interviewing different people here on the island, kind of bring a little bit of flavor to what Whidbey Island is like. We have all these small communities, and people that are even people that have lived here for a long time aren't aware of some of the things that are going on the island, some of the activities, some of the businesses. So I like to, number one, promote some of the local businesses. Having been a small business owner here in the past when we owned our pizza restaurant, being self-employed is a lot of hard work, and I want to promote some of these small businesses, and with the hopes that you, the residents of the island, will recognize them, come out and patronize their businesses, because that is one of the things that gives our community the character that it has, is all these small businesses, not a bunch of big box stores, although we have some of those. And while, I was originally really negative, like when Home Depot came into town. However, having personally known all the last three managers, I guess four, because one of James, the current manager, was the manager a few managers ago. But having known all of them and how much they give back to the community, didn't have nothing negative to say about Home Depot in our community. But it's the small businesses. It's the little small restaurants that give you a place to get out and go enjoy some time and some really good food. And we have a lot of those here. And there's a lot of other businesses, and I'm just curious if you guys want to pop in and give me something in the comments and I could ask questions. I'd be happy to answer those. As far as things you would like to see, I guess, first off, who has watch the podcast or listen to the podcast? I don't have a huge following, but it's something I keep doing. I'm trying to do regularly. I ran it for last year for a while, and then life got busy. That happens, and I kind of stopped doing it for a bit, and then I restarted. We have done a great video with tossing axes. I don't know if you guys saw that, but Daniel's doing a great job there in the especially in the wintertime, but year round, looking for things to do in Oak Harbor. It's one of the biggest complaints I've ever heard about living in Oak Harbor is for especially some of the younger people that they don't feel like there's anything to do because it's not a big city. It's not, there's not a big party scene, a big bar scene. And they're looking for things to do. And tossing axes really brings it full circle. I mean, you've got the axe throwing, which is a blast. And if you've never tried it, I would highly encourage you to go try it. Daniel or one of his other employees there who are trained will teach you how to throw axes. So they're not just throwing you to the wolves. When we went in there the first time, Daniel showed us how to throw a single axe and then gave us 20 minutes or so to play some games. And then he came back over and showed us how to throw two axes at a time and then how to do some knife throwing, which is pretty cool. But they also have an arcade, a bunch of video games, and pinball. They've got a bunch of pinball games. They got a pool table downstairs and some old video games, old Nintendo 64 and stuff like that downstairs, and those are free to play. And they sell beer and wine, so it's a great place to go hang out with some friends. But I don't mean to digress to specifically that. If you have any questions, ideas of people you'd like me to interview or businesses you're more curious about. I don't want to get into anything negative, the political things in the community. That's not my thing. I really want to uplift people who are putting their all into making our community a better place and trying to make a living at it at the same time. I also interviewed Jesse at AB Hillbilly Euros. They're going to be opening the ice cream parlor soon. Excited to see that. They've come a long way. She started off on a food truck, which, part of my background was I had a food truck, and then she's rolled that into the AB Hillbilly Euros, which does a great job. If you're looking for alternative, like some Greek food, some Euros, some baklava, she got some great sandwiches and stuff in there. You should definitely check it out. So yeah, what else would you like me to cover? If you guys don't have anything, I've got a few questions people have come up with. I guess maybe I'll give you a preview. I've got a few people lined up to interview, and maybe if you want to hop on my Facebook page and shoot me a message, if you have questions for some of these people. Over the next couple of months, I will be interviewing a few people. Number one, I'll be going to be interviewing Scott Frazier at Frazier's Gourmet Hideaway. That's the nicest restaurant in Oak Harbor. And Scott, they just do an amazing job in that place. And if you know some of his history, we'll learn more about that when we talk to him. But he's been here for a long time, and he's built out that restaurant and just grown it. And their food is just absolutely amazing. Does some really great stuff. And he's very involved in the community. You know, we used to have a barbecue contest here in Oak Harbor. I think that dissipated just before COVID, or maybe COVID was the demise. But Scott was the backbone behind that. He was the brainchild. He was the one who thought of it, or was one of the key people involved in doing that barbecue contest, which became a sanctioned barbecue contest for many years, and became quite a pretty good size event here in town. But that's kind of gone by the wayside. I got to tell you, running those kind of events is a lot of work. So when you sit back and I see people that are like, well, why don't we have this and why don't we have this, and get involved in the organizations that run some of these events, because they are done by the community. They're not for profit. The music festival is a not-for-profit event. It is they donate money for scholarships for kids for music scholarships. The Hydros for Heroes is a not-for-profit event that they raise money for different community organizations, and I think they're doing some high school scholarships. When they had the barbecue contest, that was a nonprofit. I don't recall where the money went to. I think it originally went to Help House. It was a fundraiser for Help House. It actually started off as a small event up on Fidalgo Street, which is the one behind the little mall on Whidbey Avenue, or on Pioneer. So Scott's been involved in a lot of things. Once again, I digress. So that'll be a great interview. Next week, I'm interviewing, did you guys see this guy down on the south end of the island? He is building a mobile sauna and cold plunge trailer. Kyle Taylor, I'm going to be interviewing him next week. Looking forward to that. That should be a lot of fun. He's building out this trailer from scratch, putting a sauna inside, got a cold plunge. They're going to provide, they're going to go down to like beaches and park at a beach where people can come and for a few bucks sit in the sauna and do the cold plunge if they don't want to jump in the ocean. And then they'll also be renting it out to people that want it at their house for the weekend or for a day. So that's kind of exciting to see what that does. I like that ingenuity, the entrepreneurship. There's a lot of things that go into business like that. It's not just building out a trailer and doing it. It's a lot of marketing. Yeah, a lot of different things. So who would you be interested in me interviewing, or what are you wondering about Whidbey Island, about living on Whidbey Island? Let's see here. Let's see, questions about Whidbey Island. I guess this one comes from George, and this is more apparently somebody who doesn't live here, or maybe somebody who just moved here, asking this question of, what is the weather like year-round on Whidbey Island? Well, the weather year-round is all over the place. In the wintertime, we have really short days. The days are down to 8 hours of daylight from sunrise to sunset on winter solstice. And up to, in the middle of summer, we have 16 hours of daylight. So it really runs the gamut from the short days to the really long days, regardless of daylight savings time. And we have, in the wintertime, it's wet. It depends on what part of the island you're on, because, that can really vary how wet it is. And, from the south end of the island gets dramatically more rain than the center part. Coopville is darn near arid. It just does not get that much rain. And, so that's, I was trying to find, I actually have a map I thought I could pop up. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Rain map. Okay, let's try that. See how I can put that up, and we will. There you go. There's the rain map. So that shows, oh no, that's a jet noise map. So close. Try back to, there is the rain map. So there's the rain map. That shows you, you can see down on the south end of the island, we're looking at, 35 plus inches on that very southern tip. And then coming up towards here there's Langley's right over here. They're at maybe 25 inches, 28 inches. And then you come up to Coopville, and this white spot right here, that's 21, 22 inches of rain. That is dramatically less. And you get up here to Oak Harbor, and you're looking at like 25, 26 inches of rain a year. So, between 35 and 21, that's a pretty big variation in how much rain. And to go with that is the amount of sunshine that goes with that is proportional, because the north end of the island sees a lot more sunny days than the south end does. And in the summertime, we are fairly arid. We don't get very much rain in the summertime from after the 4th of July. If you don't know, sometimes weather doesn't get better till after the 4th of July. And we've had plenty of cold, rainy days on the 4th of July. But recently, the last few seem like they've been pretty nice. And then until middle of September, it's typically pretty darn dry. And as far as snow, we don't get a lot of snow. We get snow it snows every year probably. It doesn't always stick. I'm not the weatherman. I don't have all the records, but been here for 30 years. So I'd say, every other year it sticks decently a little bit. And then once every 5 or 8 years, we get a good dumping where you get 6, 9, 10, and 12 inches of snow on the ground for several days or a week or two. So yeah, there we go. That's what I get from the weather. So there you go. There's your weather outlook for Whidbey Island. Any other questions? Anything else people want to know? What other topics would people be interested in about Whidbey Island? What kind of people you're interested in me interviewing? I might, talk to some of the other nonprofits in town. Probably you've heard me talk about Rotary and Hearts and Hammers. I've been involved in those for many years, so they tend to be the ones that I talk about. But there's other ones. There's, I don't remember what the number is, but we have more nonprofits per population base than any county in the state of Washington. So there are a lot of nonprofits here. And that's they're out there to serve the community. They all have a niche of their trying to solve some problem in our community. And then we're really blessed to have the Whidbey Island Whidbey Community Foundation, which is a nonprofit, which then, when people don't know where to donate money, but they want to do something to a good cause, if you give money to the Whidbey Community Foundation, then they give money to other nonprofits based on different criteria. And I think they change their criteria each year for who they give money to. But they give quite a bit of money to nonprofits in the community. And there are a lot of them. My experiences with, North Whidbey Hearts and Hammers. There are 3 Hearts and Hammers organizations on the island. um, and their role is building community through home repair projects. So all three of us, all three organizations work to do a big work day once a year to bring neighbors, bring people together from different walks of life to go out and do repairs for homeowners who have a financial need. They cannot physically do the job. They cannot afford to do the repairs to their home so that they can have a safe place to live, because everybody deserves to have a roof over their head and have it feel safe in their home. And there's a lot of people, that in our community that have significant needs, that have roofs that leak, and which unfortunately is not something Hearts and Hammers does, or at least not North Whidbey. People get injured and they need a ramp because they can no longer get in their house because they're in a wheelchair. They've broken a hip. They've been in an accident. They've something. They're old and they can't physically get up steps anymore. And a ramp becomes a must. And that's one of the things that Hearts and Hammers does as we can. So let's see all I got. So I got one heart there. How you doing? Wish I can't see who's actually online, but yeah. So what other topics can we talk about for Whidbey Island living? This daily, weekly live I'm doing, I'm here to talk about, answer questions about Whidbey Island, answer questions about buying and selling real estate, investing in real estate, getting your house ready to sell, getting yourself ready to buy a home, or what's the process like. There's a lot of moving parts involved in doing either one, whether you're buying or selling. And, so that's what I can answer those questions if you want to hop on and post some questions. Otherwise, I will go through. I got some emailed in questions here. Let's see, what's the next one like? Okay, this is from somebody obviously not here, and this is interesting because I was actually out shooting a video yesterday about this. Is there a ferry to the island, and if so, how often does it run? Transportation is a big deal. Getting here, it's funny, I'm putting together a video about getting to Whidbey Island, and I literally drove down to Clinton, took the Clinton ferry to Mukilteo, and shot video there and on the ferry and coming back yesterday. So it's kind of funny that question should come up. So yeah, there are 3 ways you get to Whidbey Island. One is, let's see here, what can we do? Let's see, where is my Google Earth? One of my favorite tools. Let me pop this up. And we'll just jump in here. So let's come over here to Whidbey Island. So for people who have never been here, make north straight up top. So there is Whidbey Island, and you get here by 3 ways. One is Highway 20 across the Deception Pass Bridge here. There is the Deception Pass Bridge. So this is Fidalgo Island. Kind of zoom out here. So that is Fidalgo Island. There's a bridge right there called the Twin Bridges. That gets you onto Fidalgo Island. There is Anacortes. This here is 2 refineries out here on March's Point. And this is Skyline over here, which is part of Anacortes at the Skyline Harbor. And then, so then you come down here, Highway 20 to the bridge. It's beautiful, most visited bridge, most visited state park. Deception Pass State Park is on both sides of the bridge. And this is one of the most photographed places. Here we go, bring up some pictures there. There you go, there's that. Hey, I've taken that exact same picture. So yeah, so you cross the bridge. This is Pass Island. So there's actually two bridges. This is Canoe Pass Bridge, and then this is the Deception Pass Bridge. And Pass Island is right here. Currents really get ripping through there. It's, I think, the fastest currents in the lower 48 of the United States. As the tidal change, so small boats can sometimes get stuck right here in like a whirlpool. You gotta be really careful if you're kayaking down there. People need to get rescued regularly. So yeah, there's the Deception Pass Bridge. That is how you would get here by driving. If you want to fly here, right down here is the airport. Where is the airport? It is. It's right down there somewhere. There we go. There it is. There you go. There's the runway. It's such a huge airport. It just stands out. So Link Air. Here's Link Air. They fly from SeaTac to Whidbey Island, or they'll go lots of places. They're a small airline. Chris Taylor is the owner and chief pilot, so he can get you where you need to go if you want to fly. Then we'll zoom on out and come down here. So right here is I call it the Keystone Ferry Landing. It is the Coopville Ferry Landing now. So that is where you would catch the ferry to go. Oh, here, we'll click on one of those pictures you probably see. There's the ferry landing from there. And thought maybe we get a ferry boat in the picture. And that will take you to across from here to Port Townsend, to the dock right here. And there's a ferry boat. So that will get you to Whidbey Island from Port Townsend on the Olympic Peninsula. Kind of zoom out here. There's Port Townsend. Here is Port Angeles. This is the rainforest, the Olympic National Park. So back to Whidbey Island. The other place you get here is down here. This is what we went and did yesterday. So here is the ferry coming in. That's the Clinton Ferry Landing right there on the south end of Whidbey Island, on the east side. It's not the very south tip, but it's the southernmost city on the island. And the ferry runs over here to Mukilteo. They built a brand new terminal here in 2020. You'll see on my video when I put it out. Got some video over there, show you what it is. So it's much nicer. You lined up. You got all this room for lining up to get on the ferry. That ferry you can be backed up to get on, but you're going to get on the ferry boat. The one from Port Townsend, you got to be careful because this one right here gets really busy, and you need to schedule make a reservation to get on that ferry. So that's how you get to Whidbey Island. Hope that answered that question. And if you're wondering what this video is back here playing in the background, that's a friend of mine in his paraglider down at Eby's Landing. I just happened to be down there with Christy walking on the beach and had my phone handy, and here he comes buzzing down the beach like 30 feet over my head. It was really, really cool, and it was right at sunset, so I got this wonderful video. So yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. One of the many things you can do here on Whidbey Island, that bluff right there, that's a great hike. Eby's Landing, about a 3-mile hike up the bluff and then down the other end, and there's switchbacks back down to the beach, and you walk back down the beach, or I suppose you can go the other way. All right, what else we got here? Anybody else got any other questions or ideas for the podcast? Let's see. What are the best towns or communities to live in? Okay, another one from outside the area. That's good. People looking for information about Whidbey Island. So, Whidbey Island has 6 distinct communities, towns, and cities, Oak Harbor being the largest at the north end. And let's see, maybe I can bring up, go back to Google Earth, and so we'll do, so here's the city of Oak Harbor on the north end of the island. That is, the city is about 22,000 people in the city limits, which is mostly what you're seeing. Actually, that's mostly the city, probably. And then you've got the rural area around there, and you've got the Naval Air Station right here, just north of Oak Harbor. So Oak Harbor is the big city on the island, and there's a Home Depot, Safeway, Hagen's, Tractor Supply are kind of the big stores, Walmart. That's kind of, you're going to find most of your fast food stuff is in Oak Harbor. Once you go south of Oak Harbor, there's no fast food. There's no chain anything except for there's a Dairy Queen in Clinton. That's it. So then your next town down is the town of Coupeville. Coupeville is more like 1,500 people. I don't remember exactly, but that's the town. Historic, second oldest city in the state of Washington. At one point was considered to be the capital of Washington 100 and some years ago. Right here on Penn Cove. Over here you see this is Penn Cove shellfish. Those are all rafts, and they're farming oysters underneath those rafts. There's also the Penn Cove is very famous for orca whales. That's where many of the orcas were captured back in the early 70s. It was a big orca catch that were shipped off to amusement parks, SeaWorld, and stuff around the world. Not a great thing, but that's one thing it's well known for. So next town to talk about. So as far as what's the best place to live, well, if you're in the Navy, which a lot of our population is, then living in Oak Harbor is kind of a good place to be. You're just 10, 15 minutes from the base. But also living on the north end of the island, the same thing. You're nice and close to the base. There's a gate on the north side that gets you right in. And then you've got Coupeville. Coupeville is a half an hour from the base. It's plenty of people live there and commute to the base. Much smaller town. Oak Harbor has 5 elementary schools and a middle school and intermediate school and a big high school with all kinds of AP programs and clubs and everything. And Coupeville is a much smaller town with an elementary school and a high school. And the high school is much more small town. I mean, they do some really cool things. All the seniors get to paint their own parking spot their senior year because there's all of 25 or 30 of them. I'm not sure. But yeah, so Coupeville, we lived in Coupeville for a while. And then you come down the island and you've got some communities here that are not in a city, but this is Admiral's Cove right here. And these houses right on the water. And this is Ledgewood and Bonaire. So you got, there's a couple hundred houses in there. And we come down in our next actual town. Well, you have the town of Greenbank, but Greenbank is really a wide spot in the road with its own zip code. So Greenbank, as you can see, there is a little pastry and shop and deli. There's a post office. There's not too much there. There used to be a store there, not there anymore. Greenbank Farms here has some shops and a few things, a wine shop and a pie shop and some stuff. some, but there's not a lot of facilities there. It's much more a zip code that covers this middle area of the island. And then you come down to Freeland, and Freeland actually has it's a city. So you've got a golf course community out here, Holmes Harbor Golf Course, and the houses around there. And then you've got the actual town of Freeland, which has restaurants and banks and the title companies and grocery stores and hardware stores and all of that, churches. So that's an actual town. And that's, it's Freeland. The land is not free, but it's a little more expensive down here than on the north part of the island. But it also incorporates all of these, areas of waterfront homes, some beautiful homes down there. And then you've got these other areas. You got Bayview, which isn't really a town or a city. It's just a wide spot in the road that has a name. There's a grocery shopping center at Bayview. And then your next town is actually, here's the Goose, which is a big shopping grocery store and stuff. This is a Bayview Farmers Market. There you go. That's actually, satellite picture was taken during the farmers market. That is the Bayview Farmers Market, which happens on Saturdays from 10 to 2, I believe. And then over here, you've got a nursery, a couple of restaurants in this building. And then this road is one of the roads to the town of Langley, which is the next town on our list. Here is Langley by the sea, one of the most expensive areas on the island. Median sales price like $800,000. There come great restaurants, grocery store, nice neighborhood, nice area. Good scuba diving right down here in the marina. I used to scuba dive. There's used to be an underwater tire reef out here. We used to go out here and scuba dive years and years ago. We can get into a whole nother video about places to go scuba diving on Whidbey Island. This is the South Whidbey High School, the Island Fairgrounds right here. So that's Langley. And then we have Clinton here down where the fair landing is. Clinton is a smaller town on the water. Got some, there's a few stores, a few shops, nothing big in town, a few restaurants, but not a lot. So that covers kind of what the towns are, where you could live on Whidbey Island. Hope that was helpful and answered some questions. Okay, so there's my 3.5 cents on Whidbey Island. Hope that answered your questions. Hey, you got any more ideas for who I could interview for the podcast? I have a long list. I have a bunch of people. I could be interviewing people for the next 2 years. I'm just curious what your input would be, because you're the ones that are watching and listening, and I want to know what you think. Or what particularly I should be asking. When I'm going to interview Scott Frazier, I got an appraiser. I'm going to interview an appraiser coming up, so you can find out a little bit more about appraisers and how that process works, because my day job is selling real estate, so I talk about real estate a lot. But give me your 2 cents. Let me know what you think. Got any questions? And it's been 33 minutes, so everybody have a fantastic Saturday, and we'll see you next week on the podcast.